Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another very special episode of the Alamo Audible podcast. This is your producer, Jared Kalmas, here to introduce our first ever track and field episode of the podcast. Man, I'm really excited to say that. A couple years back, we set a goal to cover every single sport at UTSA. Maybe not every single week, every month, but we want to at least have one episode for every single sport that UTSA hosts, and we're going down that list pretty rapidly. So this is our first track and field episode, like I said, and CJ had the honor of being the first to give us a track and field interview, and his guest is none other than Lirim Emerllahu. And Lirim and CJ go way back. They actually went to middle school and high school together at Clark High School. So Lirim, of course, San Antonio native, started his career collegiately at Incarnate Word, had some struggles there, and then entered the track and field transfer portal and ended up at UTSA. And it was just a really great interview. I really enjoyed hearing CJ and Lirim not only talk about Lirim's career, but also just catch up as friends. It's cool to see their personal journeys bring them to this point. It's a cool moment. But, you know, Lirim ran track at UTSA, but he also runs track, I guess you could say semi-professionally. He is a native of Kosovo and is a Kosovo national champion and is looking to run in more meets for Kosovo and representing his homeland. So really cool story. Great to hear Lirim talk about how UTSA helped him get to his dreams and live out, you know, some of his ambitions and all of that. Really, really cool stuff. So, of course, we could not do interviews like these and bring you guys this type of coverage without the support of our Patreon subscribers. So if you're not a Patreon member, please take this opportunity to sign up. You get access to exclusive content and also help us pay our staff and our contributors and make sure we can keep the great content rolling for you guys. We've been on a hot streak, man. It's we got more in the pipeline, but it's been a really good spring for us here at Alamo Audible. And that's thanks to the support of folks like our Board of Trustees members, Digiteek, John Otwell, Lino Perez of Los Dos Reality Tailgating, Gary and Ruben representing the UTSA Bird Gang Tailgate, Ray Redding and Meet Me Apparel, Brandon Grill and the Grill Realty Group, Andy Elizade at Proficient Benefit Solutions, Ian McClendon and Seeker LLC, Ryan Squares, Waterman Construction, Siobhan Townsend, VP of the DFW chapter of the UTSA Alumni Association, UTSA Annual Giving, and Artisan Vapor and CBD. And of course, thank you as well to our big money donors, including Ben Tovar, the Bunch family, Zach Espericueta on the San Antonio Podcast Network, Alejandro Benavides, Dan Nerdhall, host of Around the Birdbath, Jacob Gvasos, board president of the UTSA Alumni Association, John Nally, Brandon Padron, and Rick Cortez of Rowdy Road Grillers. So thank you guys all so much for your support, and thank you to all of you guys for listening. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and hit a quick Kumi break and send you into CJ's interview with Lirim. So I hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you back next time. All right. Hello. This is CJ Benavides with Alamo Audible here with the very first UTSA track content with Lirim Emerllahu, who is a UTSA alumni and a very close friend of mine who I've known for at least, Lirim, what is it? Almost 10 years?
Since almost 10 years. It's almost, because we went to middle school together.
Yeah.
Also.
Wow. Yeah. That.
So
man.
I think it's like either 10 or 11.
Yeah, and we've been in sports since seventh grade.
Seventh grade,
we've done at least something together. Wow.
No, yeah, we were always in the same group, kind of, honestly.
Yeah. So let's get to high school. We went to high school together at Clark High School here in San Antonio, and ever since I've known you, you were the fastest dude I've ever known at the same age grade we were in. And I was just not surprised to see you on the track team and also to see you performing very well in football. So I was just, can you speak upon, I guess, our track experience? Because I also did track with you, but I'd like you to
So, because you were clearly the fastest. Coach Allen, his workouts were very
Dude, oh man.
very strenuous at times.
Mhm.
Especially on Wednesdays. Because I
Oh,
think
dude.
those 800s were rough. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, speak upon your high school track experience leading up to your collegiate athletic track career.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I would say I wasn't really too like I ran track in middle school, but I wasn't really too too into the sport. I was more so doing it just to stay in shape for football, as
Hmm.
like 90% of the guys in there were. And like we were all freshmen, and then we that freshman year we actually had our relay. It was um it was me, Austin, Lucas, and I'm not sure who else it was, but it was a mix between two other people. And like I'm pretty sure we were killing it, dude. Like it was crazy. And that freshman year, it was just so much fun. And like I remember I had this video of one of the Fairyverse outdoor meets. I caught like three guys on the backstretch, and like you can hear your voice in the background, like oh Lirim,
Yeah,
and
I
like
remember that. I remember that
yeah,
video.
and I still watch that video like to this day, man. Like it was so awesome. And then, going into my sophomore year, we had so much success. I think we went the relay. We because like every year we built chemistry because every year it was the same relay practically. It stayed like me, Austin, and Lucas, and Bobby. Yeah, we had Bobby sophomore year too. And I think we won like 8 meets in a row, man. And it was like holy crap, like it was just like we were so good. And then like I didn't really start getting into the individual events until like I was running them, but like I wasn't like, I was mainly focused on the relays my first 2 years at Clark. And then my junior years when I started like really like doing good individually in the two and the one. And I started a liking for the two. Like that's been my main race ever since high school. And junior year was cool. It wasn't anything like too crazy. Like we were winning, but it wasn't like any times that were like sticking out. But then senior year was like when I like started getting attention from schools, and like I was PRing every meet. And then I almost was district champion. Like I was first in the district for the two. And I remember running that race like so vividly every day. And then like after that race, I started having like coaches come up to me at like the area meet, and like on and like at regionals too. And it was just crazy, man. Like it was such a crazy experience at Clark. And honestly, Coach Allen's workouts, they were intense, man. Like you know what I mean? Like those Tuesdays we'd run those 800s, and then on Wednesdays we'd have those 300s. And then he was intense. And then I remember every year after spring break, Coach Allen would have us do nonstop relays.
Hmm.
And like he
Yeah.
put up, and like because he wanted to see like who like took their spring break seriously. Because I remember like following spring break, we had a track meet, and like he was honest, like he cared about, like he was fired up about track. Like it was
Hmm.
like he was like to this day, he's like I still reach out to him every now and then. And like he I don't know, he honestly made me who I am today, because he taught me the fundamentals, and everything that led me to run track at the collegiate level. And like he really assisted me in getting attention from colleges, and that's where I started at UIW. But um as far as high school, man, I mean the workouts were intense. Like I have so many memories of like dudes throwing up, like us
Hmm.
dying on the track, like literally laying down.
Yeah.
But Coach Allen, he really set us up for success. I mean, because those workouts were planned and thought out through, and like it was just, and like hearing other people's high school track experience, Coach Allen's was like 1 to 9.
Hmm. Yeah, man. I just remember stressing like after school. I was just like, we lifted weights in fourth period or last period of the day, and it's like freshman year we were lifting last period, and then when we got to JV and varsity, it was the fourth period, and then we're like, oh, then we got to go to track practice out of school, and it was like a big like stress. And I remember he would make us like make you really question, do you really want to be on the track team? You really want to be on
Yeah,
the track
no,
team? Well, okay, well then you got to survive these workouts. And like, yeah, like I just remember looking forward to the Fridays of running, I think 10 100s either on
Oh
the
man, that
turn,
was the easiest day.
either on the turn or on the straightaways. And like I was
Yeah,
just looking forward to those all the time because the middle of the week made me question track life. It was
dude.
awful. So like yeah.
Nah, dude, it was intense, bro. It was intense, especially like if you weren't like watching like what you ate
hmm
at lunch or something, and like you had after, and like we had a hard workout after school.
hmm
Oh my god, dude, it
Yeah.
was crazy.
hmm Yeah, no, yeah, but he got us in shape, and honestly, Coach Allen, shout out Coach Allen from Clark High School. He
Yeah, he's
literally he was fantastic. He really made you work. He made you like really fine-tuned you to be like a very fantastic athlete, perform at the best of your ability every single track meet. So after high school, you committed to UIW for track. Can you speak upon your 2 years at UIW, right? Two
yeah,
years?
2 years, yeah.
Eh, 2 years at UIW. Can you speak upon like what was it like running track for UIW and the track meets that you went to?
Yeah, so that first week of college practice was a real wake up because it was just like like in high school like you have like those guys who like you can like take a rep off sometimes just because you don't want to like die out throughout the workout, but like every rep we did in practice was like 90%, 80%. Like it was intense. And like I remember like in the fall our practices were like at 6:30 in the morning. And yeah, it was bad. And then like we'd have weights at like 3 p.m. And in high school we didn't really lift that much for track. But when I got to college, it was just like power clean, squats, like all this like crazy heavy work, heavy lifts. I mean, it worked, man. But like that first year was really, really like hard. Like that off season that I had in the fall, that fall semester was single handedly like the hardest thing I've ever done, and it was a wake up call because during that winter break, like all I did was work out and diet, and like it really made me like lock in because in high school like I would eat whatever I wanted like before a meet, like I would be like okay, like I'd be fine. And then when I got to college, it was just like dude, like you really like if you don't like phone in on like what you're doing and like what your routine is and what you're eating and like how you're taking care of your body, then that's especially taking care of your body. And I didn't have too well of an indoor season because that was my very first year experiencing indoor track. Is at Clark we only had outdoor meets,
hmm
and then when I got to college, they're like, oh, we have an indoor season too, and I'm like what is an indoor track? And an indoor track, so like a full an outdoor track, one lap is 400 meters, but an indoor track, one lap is 200 meters, and it's banked, so the curves are on like a, it's like you're running uphill. And like when you're in the starting blocks, it's like you're tilted to the side. But I didn't have that good of a indoor season. But then once outdoor came, it was like I PR'd like 4 or 5 meets in a row, and then I was voted like freshman, like rookie of the year from my teammates and coaches, and like that was awesome to see because I struggled so much in my freshman year, like to begin with. But like that just made me realize what I had to do, like how to take care of my body and all that. And then my sophomore year, I was really excited looking into that. And but unfortunately, like I had a really bad back injury. I had a stress reaction on my L4, and it turned into a stress fracture because I kept playing it off. So then I was out, that whole sophomore year with that back injury and that back brace. But then that sophomore year was when COVID hit. So I wasn't, we we still didn't even get a full season. So I got to spend, most of COVID in that back brace just healing up.
hmm Wow. Jeez. I didn't. During this time, I think we were all going through college. I don't think I got to talk to you very much for those 2 years. But wow,
Yeah,
man.
man,
I
it was
mean,
just
I bet
busy.
that indoor track was eye opening because you see it on
Yeah,
videos and you're
yeah,
like, wow, that looks crazy. And then I'm sure you do it and you're like, wow, this is extremely hard.
dude, it was just like, and like that my first college meet, I
hmm
went against the conference champion that we had at the
hmm
time.
hmm
And it's like like I'm a freshman going against
hmm
some senior who has like all these accolades, like all American and all this crap. And I'm like, dude, like this is
Jeez.
insane. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
goodness.
and then like when I finished the race, I'm like, is this really for me? Like type thing. I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, like that was insane.
Wow.
But yeah, man, it was intense, man. And then following that sophomore year, I entered the transfer portal, And it was just a mix of like frustration and like,
Mhm.
like it wasn't just, what I was doing, athletically. It's just
Mhm.
also like the school wasn't, I was trying to study cybersecurity,
Mhm.
and their cybersecurity program was super small, and the professors really didn't like, I don't know, I couldn't really gain much from the professors there. I don't know how to really explain it.
Mhm.
But with the regarding like the coaching stuff, like they were great. Like they like, and when I entered the transfer portal, I actually never even told my coaches at UIW that I entered, because like I was just frustrated.
Yeah.
And like this last year, I was at a track meet with UTSA, and I walked up to the UIW coach and I was like, hey man, like I'm sorry, like I entered without telling you and stuff like that. Like you gave me an opportunity and all that, and we're good now. But back then it was really immature of me to enter the portal without letting the coaches know, and
Mhm.
it was me being frustrated with what was going on with my like I thought I was blaming the back injury on a lot of different things, and coming off that really good freshman year, I was just super frustrated because I knew I had so much potential. So
Mhm.
then when I entered the portal, I had a few schools reach out to me, and then I spoke with UTSA, and that was during COVID. So like the whole recruiting process was just over the phone. And like
Mhm.
my first day meeting the coaches wasn't until like the first day of practice.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
man. That's crazy. Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah. It was
gosh.
intense. It was intense, man.
Well, and like we hear about the transfer portal with like, baseball, football, basketball. Like this is the first I've ever heard of like transfer portals within the track programs. And like what like was there a lot of teams come and calling, or was it like you just could, felt like going wherever you want, or was it
Well, it was mostly I was looking at like, situation wise,
Mhm.
how the program is, and like if it was at a level that I wanted to be at. So
Mhm.
like previously the transfer portal, you had to ask for permission from your coaches to enter.
Mhm.
And then my that sophomore year was when they took away that oh, like I wasn't sure if it was my sophomore year or if it was like before that. Well, they took the rule away. So then, you could enter the transfer portal freely. And then as soon as you enter the portal, is like you automatically start getting, like I entered the portal and I had like 10 emails come up automatically. Like
Jeez.
because coaches can't talk to you,
Mhm. Mhm.
if you're not on the portal. And as soon as I got on the portal is when a bunch of schools started reaching out and like telling me, hey, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, but like like you gotta come here and like you gotta do that. And it was a hard decision, man. But
Mhm.
I really had my eyes set on UTSA. That was the number one destination for
Mhm.
me. Like I could have gone, to like a small school and maybe like, like Iowa or something, or Ohio. Like I had a school in Ohio reach out to me, and like a couple of schools like in like different states, like some D1, some D2, and it was like in that mix, like mid major, high major, like you know what I mean. But like
Mhm.
some schools were like, hey, like we'll give you half a scholarship, but like the other half you gotta like pay and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then I wasn't really, too. I wanted to see if they had like a good athletic program.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I didn't want to go into a program that was going to destroy me, because I
Mhm.
always feared that. And again, like going back to UIW, I was nervous being at that school that I was going to get more injured,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And like it wasn't the coaching staff or anything, but it was just how everything worked out and stuff like that. But when I talked to the coaches at UTSA, like one, they have so much experience. Like my coach, Kareem Street Thompson,
Mhm.
he's a three-time Olympian. Like
Mhm.
he has all these records. He's an NCAA. I'm pretty sure he's an NCAA champion. He just got inducted into the Rice Hall of Fame. Like he was a great athlete and he was a great coach. He was honestly like he changed. So when I got to UTSA, he literally changed me from what I was coming out of UIW. Like it felt like I was a freshman again.
Mhm.
Like he was telling me, he literally was picking out like you know from a normal person's view, running just looks simple, but like there's
Mhm.
so much into it. Like your dry face, like
Mhm.
if the way your feet are hitting the ground, the way your arms are swinging, like he pointed out every single little thing that I was doing wrong. And then like it was a great experience, man. UTSA really, and like choosing UTSA was honestly one of the best decisions I ever made. And like the athletes there, they were like 60-70% of our team, they're from all around the world. Like most of the team is internationals.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how the track team is, and it's maybe like a couple of people, from the States. But I mean, it's a good mix. But everybody there was so intense and locked into what they were doing. Like all the work. Like I remember, my first week of workouts at UTSA. Like that first Monday, I think we were just jogging 400s, and like you could tell like everybody was into it. And then like we do a workout called X's, where like you basically run in an X, but when you run diagonally, like you're basically sprinting with two other members with you, and then you're just jogging across the field whenever you're going horizontal, and then boom, you're just going straight back into an X. And like there was just people like clapping, like, and it was an intense program, man. Like that first year at UTSA, like I had a lot of personal success, personally, and
Mm-hmm.
the coaches, they really improved me a lot, man. Like I PR'd, um, I broke national records for Kosovo, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I was getting attention from, my home country,
Mm-hmm.
them telling me, hey, we want you to run for us, and there was a meet at UTSA where I broke, it was an indoor meet and an outdoor meet. So that indoor season, I PR'd every meet that indoor season. And
Wow.
I was like, dude, like this, and like, so like I've never ran like 21s indoors.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was only running 21 200s outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was like, I'm never, and like so like for example at UIW, I was running 23s
Mm-hmm.
indoors. Like it was god awful, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to UTSA and those first couple indoor meets, like the first one was all right. Like it was just me getting my feet wet kind of. And then like after that was just like PR, PR, PR. And like it's all due to like the coaches and like what they did for me. And like they helped me, run for Kosovo,
Mm-hmm.
break records and personal records. Like I wasn't able to really, reach that pinnacle of track where like you're like a national champion, an all
Mm-hmm.
American, a conference champion. But
Mm-hmm.
I was able to achieve so much personally, and like the people around me, like nobody was like against each other. Like there was no like beef between anyone. Everybody wanted, you to improve yourself. And like anybody would give you advice, like from the throwers to the jumpers to the long distance people. Like it was a team. Like we were truly like a big old family. And again, like I seriously owe all my success in track to Kareem, because him and his wife both coach for UTSA, and they've built a really solid foundation there. Like they have All Americans literally every year, multiple All Americans, and there's dudes that come from high school who run, like they run crazy times. When they get to UTSA, like they're just like, it's like boom, like you're just like you're escalated to a different level. Like and it can take a year for you to get used to the program. Like I watch guys their first year, like like they did like all right,
Mm-hmm.
but then that next year is when they like take off and like they really, start getting used to the program. But I mean, UTSA's track program, man, it was an intense experience. Like the workouts were rough, but it was so worth it. And like I was so locked in on my diet and like taking care of my body, and like I was going crazy in the weight room. Like it was just awesome. But the last 2 years was when I really struggled. So I kept facing like that first year at UTSA was amazing, man. Like every meet was like an entire different experience for me. And like I was just continuing to like go at a level that I didn't think I was gonna ever reach. Like in high school, I knew I was fast. Like I knew I was like like decently fast. And then when I got to college, those first 2 years at UIW, it really had me question like, am I meant for this sport? And
Yeah.
then when I got to UTSA, it was just like my coach, he basically told me like I'm gonna like he basically showed me like how to believe in myself. And then once I got that confidence in myself, I was really able to push myself to new levels. And coming off that first year at UTSA, I went back home to Kosovo, and I broke two national records, and I also became a national champion. And seeing, I like my goal and my this whole time was to represent my country,
Hmm.
and to be able to, put us on the map because we're a super small country and like not many people know about us, but being able to, run at this level, the highest level that you can, and then, compete and then represent your country and being able to, say like, hey, like I'm a national record of this country. And again, like I owe all my success to, the coaching staff at UTSA.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's awesome to hear, especially just
Yeah,
the
dude, you've
jump
known me
from us.
personally.
Yeah,
You've known
like
me
just
personally, man.
no, yeah, you and wow, and your journey, man. That's freaking crazy. That's all. Oh
Yeah,
my
it was
goodness,
intense,
man.
bro. It was
So
intense, though.
for the people that don't know, like you personally and your events at track and what you ran, like what did you run specifically, like at
Mhm.
UIW and UTSA, like the 200 relays, dashes, like what did you
Yeah,
run
so
specifically?
so indoors I would run the 60 and the two.
Hmm.
That was my main things, and then sometimes I'd run
Hmm.
the 4x4, which is
Hmm.
you know the
Hmm.
hardest race ever.
Yeah.
And then when I got to UTSA, like I did, and then outdoors I would run the 1, 2, and then sometimes the relays.
Hmm.
At UIW like the 4x1 and 4x4, and then when I got to UTSA, it was the same thing, but I started to realize that like I can't like my 100 wasn't the best, but that was because it takes me so long to get to full speed. So
Hmm.
then I started to realize like, hey, like the 200 is really where I want to improve at. So I started putting all my focus into that one event, honestly, because it was a race where, I had a really good turnover and I was really able to pick up speed, 60, like 50, 60 meters into the race. Like a lot of guys, they have like that burst at the beginning. But for me, it was just like I would gradually get faster and faster. And then I would reach like a cruising speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and then whenever I was able to focus really on that 200 and like how I should run it, because there's so many different ways to attack a race. I mean, you can attack the curve and then just cruise that last 100, or you can just use your strides as long as you can, and then just be powerful on the curve and then take off on that 100. Like so, like there's this thing in track we call it's like a slingshot. So like whenever you come off the curve, you're supposed to like shoot yourself out that curve, and it's a real thing. Like it sounds crazy, but you can really toss yourself out of that curve if you have a good drive phase. And that's what I learned from my coaches, because in high school I didn't know about a drive
Hmm.
phase. I didn't know about it, like what a good block start was. Like I learned how to drag my toe. Like not a lot of people really know about that, but whenever you're coming out of your blocks and you drag that toe, you're like able to get more momentum in a way, and like you're like able to really get that back leg farther than you would, because those first two steps in a race are super important. And like my coach, Kareem always said, it's not how you start the race, it's how you
Hmm.
finish. Like it's a corny saying, but
Hmm.
it's so true, man. Like you see guys who like fall back in the first 10, 20 meters, but then once they get to that 60, 70, they really take off. And for me, was when I got to that halfway point of that curve was when I was really able to jump out and accelerate.
Wow. Wow. Was there was there any schools that you were like scared to race against? Like you were like they were notorious for like being a well pronounced track
Oh
program, and
man.
you're like, gosh, like they're in the same heat as me. They're like
Oh
uh
man. There was I would honestly my first year at UTSA, I would say UTEP was really, really like they had I forgot his first name, but his last name was Bailey. And I was
mhm,
like, I think it was Sean Bailey. And like they had this other guy, like both those, like Sean Bailey's a pro now. And then the other guy, he's at Florida now.
mhm,
And like they had a top tier sprinters. Like they had so like in the finals so I made the finals of the 200 my freshman year for Conference USA. And I think it was like three guys from UTEP in that final. Like it was insane. And like they just had a really well run sprint program, man. Like
mhm,
so like some schools, they focused on different events.
mhm.
Like some schools were mainly like long distance, and like they just had like a few sprinters or like a few jumpers. But I mean, those schools. So a lot of schools had like they had guys like
Mhm.
they had dudes that can run, and some of the relays were like it was just like man, like that's insane. Like
Mhm.
like trying to think of another school in the conference. Oh man, um, North Texas was really good. They were really solid. Charlotte would win the conference every year though, because they had. So yeah, Charlotte
Mhm.
was. It's insane to say, but
Mhm.
Charlotte had such a well-run program because
Mhm.
they had people scoring points for them in like every event, and it was mainly long distance. Like Charlotte had like long distance people place like 1 through 5 at conference. Like they just had so many people scoring points because like in track, like you know all the races leading up to conference, it's just really in preparation for that last meet because everybody. It's really a team thing whenever it comes to conference because you're trying to add up as many points as you can so that you can secure that conference championship.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. 'Cause
Yeah,
I just remember you telling me about you going to UTSA and you were just ecstatic and excited. And I was excited
dude.
for you, man.
Yeah,
When you made that Twitter post, I was like, no way. I was
dude.
like, dude. I was
I was
like
so
I
happy,
was like
man.
UTSA got someone, man. They got someone really good. So that's awesome, man. That's freaking
Yeah,
that's
dude. It
freaking
was it
awesome.
was honestly a dream, bro.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
like I like in the moment, I really didn't realize how like insane it was to be in
Hmm.
that position. But like now that I'm able to like reflect and look back, it's just like I never like like me in high school, I never would have thought I would have been able to reach that level, honestly. But then like looking back now, like everything I've been able to do, it's just like wow, man. Like it's just awesome, like all the
Yeah.
work you put in and all the hours like put together. Like, and I know I had injuries, throughout my college career, man, but those were really lessons learned,
Hmm.
like on taking
Yeah.
care of my body and stuff like that. And it wasn't anything to do with like the coaches or the workouts. It
Hmm.
was just, I had to take care of my body.
Hmm.
So, but all in all, dude, it was an awesome experience. And the people I got to meet, um, I wouldn't have any other way, especially
Hmm.
how it went at UTSA.
Hmm. And you joined at the right time too, with the new facilities coming in as well, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah, the
that
race is
was that
awesome.
was awesome. Yeah. So like, what was like was a facility type like was the facilities a influence in you coming to UTSA, or was it just like you were just gonna come here regardless because it's home, it's best in cybersecurity? Was there like any other factors besides other than that?
Honestly, man, it was just the experience that the coaches
Hmm.
had. Like being
Okay.
able to talk to someone who's been in the
Hmm.
Olympics, who's been an
Hmm.
All-American. Like
Hmm.
there's multiple coaches there who have reached like levels that, most people can't even think of. And
Yeah.
having that knowledge and that base to work off of what they had and then like improve, yourself on their training, it was just awesome, man. That's what really lured me in. And,
Hmm.
and UTSA they also have like a really, really good cybersecurity program. I think in 2019, it was like number one ranked in the country. Like it was
Hmm.
intense. And I was like, dude, like, and my whole second year at UIW, like it's crazy to say, bro, but like I manifested like coming to UTSA.
Hmm.
Like I kept telling myself like you're gonna get like UTSA is gonna like offer you. They're gonna tell you like, hey, like, we'd love to have you, like we'd love to give you an opportunity. And then like and that's what happened, man. Like I just I put the work in, but it's just crazy to think that, me really thinking about I really want to be at this school and be able to run. And like it was just awesome, man. Like I wouldn't turn it in for anything. Like
Yeah.
if the all like and I stayed 3 years at UTSA, and those 3 years, man, like even though the last 2 years were kind of rough injury wise, like it was just improvement every year, man. And like the athlete I am now, like it's based on those
Hmm.
last 3 years at UTSA.
Yeah. So it helped you morph yourself into what you are now, going through
Hmm.
all these experiences at UIW or high school, UIW, UTSA, and now you run for your country in Kosovo. Can you speak upon like what has that been like, post college? Like, are your workouts even crazier? Are they the same? How often do you have to go to Kosovo and run for your country?
Yeah, so this started back at the end of my sophomore year at UIW was when I had an interview for a news station in Kosovo, and it had like 400,000 views, like it was crazy. Yeah,
Whoa.
it was, yeah, because I went on the interview and I said like, hey, like I run these times and I want to represent the country, like I want to prove that I can be like one of the best athletes to come out of this country.
Hmm.
And then I had the athletes that were there, the guys who had the record previously, like they were like, hey, like, you got to come here and show it type of thing. And then, after that first year at UTSA was when I went to Kosovo, and like I joined this club because over there, to run at meets, you have to be part of a club. And I joined this club so I could run at the nationals meet and a couple other meets. So I was able to compete in Macedonia, and I really did good in that meet at Macedonia. But um, whenever I ran for Kosovo and like I crossed the finish line, whenever I broke that national record, it was just like I looked back and I was like, no way. Like it was just like it was a surreal experience. Like I had my whole family there. Like it was intense. Like it was insane. And like, running over there, um, it's just a really different experience. Like
Hmm.
it's a different type of air quality, like your higher elevation. Um, and like the hardest thing about running over there is getting adjusted to the sleep because they're 8 hours ahead. So like
Hmm.
whenever I go over there, it's like the first thing I gotta fix is my sleep. So I have to get there like a couple weeks earlier. And the only time I've really ran over there was in the summers because that's when most of the meets are. And the workouts I'm doing now is just really going based off, old workouts I had at UTSA. And then I also have been going to a personal trainer here in San Antonio who I've been working out with for the last 3 years. Yeah, it's called PlyoFit.
Hmm.
It's near Marshall. It's a trainer. His name is Carlos. He trains a bunch of boxers and stuff, but he trained my cousin for basketball. So I was like, screw it, like let me try it out.
Hmm.
And then he got me into really crazy shape. So I've been working out with him, and then I've been also doing stuff of my own, to prepare to run
Hmm.
the summer. But I
Wow.
mean, as far as the workouts go,
Hmm.
I've just been doing what I was doing at UTSA.
Wow. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So like, is what was like the event that you ran that you broke PR for
Yeah,
in Kosovo?
so I ran the 200. I broke the record
Hmm.
for the 200 in Kosovo,
Hmm.
and I think the record before that was like uh a 21:99 or 21:98, and at the meet I think I ran like a 21:6 or 21:5. I would have to like look it up, but it was an insane, like it was like if I show you the video, like
Hmm.
um it was just like I was moving, bro. Like it felt like someone took over my body. Like it
Yeah.
felt like I was so like there's this sometimes when I run, like I can feel like every part of my body just
Hmm.
like moving. It's crazy. And like it's just like you go numb, bro. Like sometimes I would just go numb and I wouldn't hear anything else besides like me breathing or like my feet hitting the ground. Like you just literally go numb whenever you reach that like top speed, honestly.
Hmm. Was that adrenaline kicking in like crazy? Like you were just like,
Dude, the whole warm up, like my
hmm,
like so I take my warm up routine
hmm,
super serious. And that goes back to Coach Allen. Like he would always tell us like no
hmm,
matter how hot it was to keep our
yeah,
sweatpants on. Like
hmm,
it would be like 95 degrees and he'd be like, keep your sweatpants on. And like it makes so much sense.
hmm,
And like the warm up routine in high school and compared to college, like in college, our warm up takes like 45 minutes, bro.
hmm,
Like it takes like 30 to 45 minutes because we're focusing on not getting injured. Because like in high school, we had short warm ups, but like
hmm,
you're young, your body's
hmm,
not like
hmm,
it's not really as fragile, I guess.
hmm.
And then when you're in college, like you're lifting heavy, you're running really fast, like and like if you're not taking care of your body and like doing the right amount of stretches or like getting the right amount of treatment when you need to, it really screws you up.
Wow. Jeez, man. That's so crazy. That's such a crazy like I've never like you don't really hear about this from people in the track world here in college and like That's so crazy, man. And even beyond college, like running. So is there is there like do you have any other plans running with Kosovo as far as like what are your future plans with that? Like do you want to go farther than just like, you know,
Mhm.
the dare I say the Olympics?
Oh man, honestly, the Olympics are a dream, but you really got to hit like certain times to do that, and like it would be really really tough. But I mean, it would I'm still training and like still I'm training my ass off, honestly. And like I want to keep running for Kosovo, like
Hmm.
cybersecurity, it's a passion of mine, but it's not like track, man. Like I've done this since middle school. Like it's been my dream to just be like just run. And
Hmm.
and like honestly, like I want to keep doing this as long as I can. Like even if it is just
Hmm.
like winning national championships or like continue to break records. Like I just want to continue to be able to put myself in a position where maybe I can potentially reach that top spot. Like even if I'm not able to get to the Olympics or like something like that. Like the Olympics is a reach, but crazier things have happened.
Hmm.
Like it's a dream. Like everybody has
Hmm.
dreams, and that's always been my dream. And any way I have to represent, Kosovo in
Hmm.
any way,
Hmm.
if it is like at like European meet or like a Balkan meet, like so like there's so many meets that I could do for Kosovo, and that's not just the Olympics because it's only every 4 years.
Hmm.
So like who knows where life will be, where I'll be 4 years from now. Like you can never tell with
Yeah.
life at this point. And as long as I'm able to keep running, man, and my body just keeps up with how I take care of it, like I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I can, man. Like it's just I have such a strong passion for it, and like I put so much work and effort, and I really feel like in college I didn't get you know as much as I wanted out of it. Like I didn't
Hmm.
get that. I ended in a good way, but like if it felt truly like like I need to do more. Like
Hmm.
I have to accomplish something else. Like it felt like not being able to reach something higher in college, like a national championship or something like that, or like regionals in college. Like I really wanted to do that, and I was really heading towards that way. But these injuries really started piling up, and it was just like, man, like it demoralized me.
Hmm.
And like I would tell my coach all the time, like I would literally sit with him and like I would cry, like literally, because I would be like, dude, like why is my like I like that my junior year, going into my junior year, I had the best off season like you could ever imagine. Like I thought I was gonna be able to, like my ultimate goal was always to get in those 20s for the 200, like 20.9, 20.8. Like just to be able to reach that time would have been like insane for me. And I was really heading towards that, that spot. But then like as soon as I got to like a point where like, I was in the best shape and like I was killing it at our practice, is when those injuries really started piling up. And I'm like, man, like this sucks. And like it stayed with me those last 2 years. And like it really messed me up mentally for a little bit. But like now I've been able to really like look back on it and just learn from those injuries, because I can't take back that time. Like I can't just be like,
Hmm.
oh man, like I wish I did this, I wish I did that. Like I just gotta learn, I have to take these moments that I get now, because I don't know how much longer I can run, man. And
Hmm.
like being able to, maybe possibly, win at a so like for Kosovo, we're in the Balkan region. And every year there's a Balkan championship meet where every country goes in, like Kosovo, Austria, um, Greece, Serbia, like all those countries. And I was able to compete at a Balkan meet, I think 2 years ago. And like seeing all these guys, like these guys are all like it's grown men. Like it's like professional athletes, like basically at this point. Because I mean you're running for your country at the like if you're running for your country at a big meet like this, like, I consider you a pro. And at the time I was still going through an injury, but I didn't want to turn down the opportunity. And then going into the meet, I hurt myself. And then I was like, man, like I really wish I didn't rush running that meet just so I could represent Kosovo. So now I'm just really trying to focus on, mainly taking care of my body, because I know I can get to, you know, like the speeds I want to be at, and like I work my ass off. Like I can be able to get myself in shape quick to be able to, you know, possibly hit those times. Like I can't guarantee that I'm going to hit this time, but I can guarantee that I'll put the work in to potentially hit it.
I don't doubt it for a second, man. You've always had that work ethic of getting better, especially in track, from what I remember, man, dude. Because I remember you, I remember Coach Allen sitting with you for a bit, telling you how to come out of the blocks.
Yeah.
Because we all had to do it. We all had to come out of the blocks, and he always had something to say about every single person. And
Yeah.
man, you know,
Dude, I
just
had so many sit downs with Coach Allen
mhm,
just talking about, like, you know, like what this could really mean for me. Like
mhm,
whenever I was coming out, whenever I finished my senior year, like that last
mhm.
meet, I remember vividly, man. Like I walked in the bleachers and like we just had like a huge hug and started like crying because I was like, you know, it's over, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
oh
then he
yeah.
was telling me like throughout the recruiting process, like like your foot's in the door, you just gotta kick it down.
Mhm.
Like, you know, Coach Allen always had those sayings, like those
Oh
crazy
yeah.
sayings. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like, you know, he really pushed me to, because I honestly I didn't know if I was good enough to, you know, I was having schools reach out to me and stuff like that, but you know, I really didn't have, you know, that confidence in myself. Like I had the times, you know, I ran really good in high school, but it was just like, do I believe in myself? And then Coach Allen was really able, you know, that summer of me getting recruited and stuff, he helped me out just believing in myself, man.
Hmm. And he had a track record of, sending kids to college in track too. Like he
Yeah. Yeah, he
was
sent
a
John to,
very great
yeah.
track coach in high school, and he was very like renowned for taking kids to the next level for track. Like yeah, John
Yeah.
Moss, for example, that went to UT. Yeah, man, like
Yeah, he killed it there. Yeah, no,
yeah, he
he
killed it.
killed it
Absolutely. So yeah, man, Lirim, geez, man, we've known each other for so long. Like
Yeah, it's
I
almost a
never
decade, man.
I never thought like I'd be interviewing you for my first track meet. First track person, like
Yeah, no, dude. I
for Alamo
honestly, dude,
Audible.
if you told us this, whenever we'd be going to lunch, like back in like our junior year, you know, because we always
Yeah,
went to lunch together.
yeah.
Like, if you sat down at lunch with me and was like, yo, bro, you know that I'm gonna interview like you in like a couple of years. I'm like, dude, get out of here. Like, you're just pulling my tail.
Yeah, man. Oh gosh, man, that's awesome. This is fantastic, man.
Dude, I
I
love
loved
this,
having
honestly,
you.
bro.
I love having you, Lirim. It was fantastic having you. If you want to, say your socials here, before
Yeah.
we sign off, say them, man.
Yeah, man. So all my handles are just Lirim_Emerllahu, and it's just Lirim and then the underscore EMERLLAHU. Those are my socials. But again, dude, I really do appreciate this. Like,
Mhm,
you know, I wasn't really too sure how this was gonna go, but it was an awesome experience, dude. Like honestly, like I know that we haven't talked in a while,
mhm,
but we've both been so busy with life. You know how life
mhm.
is. You know, throughout
Oh yeah.
college and after college, like little things get in the way, man. But you know,
Mhm.
being able to sit down with you and have this conversation, it
Mhm.
really means a lot to me.
No, yeah. Don't get me emotional now, Larry. My God, dude. Don't get me emotional now.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, if y'all like, what we have here, just subscribe to our Patreon, follow us on
Yeah, man,
Instagram,
for sure. I'll
Twitter,
for sure shout y'all out,
TikTok.
man.
Yeah, and our new LinkedIn page, follow us on there. We're gonna be posting content on there very soon.
Hmm.
Again, Instagram, Twitter, our Patreon. Give us a follow. Y'all love content like this. I love making content like this. But again, Liram, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure having you and being our very, very first track person to interview in the Alamo Audible. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, dude, I really appreciate you, man. This was a surreal experience, honestly. It was awesome.
Awesome. And it was a pleasure.